All right, everybody, what is up? I am back from PAX, and I had an amazing time. I cannot recommend enough that if you are into gaming, you go to PAX, whether it be East, South, North, West. I think West is called PAX Prime. I'm not sure. I went to PAX with Roughhouse Plays, my boy. We do a podcast. The link is in the description below, so definitely check out the podcast. We get new episodes every single week. Anyways, it was a sick time. Got to see a lot of new games. But still on this Legends of Runeterra grind. The deck I got today is, yes, you guessed it right, Teemo. In the second game, it actually shows how you can still win with Shrooms over 100 with no Teemo. You heard me right. Literally no Teemo. So stick around for that second game as well and see how I get 100 Shrooms in the deck with no Teemo. I'm going to get into the video. This video is a little bit longer because of the type of deck that it is. So I'm going to go through the deck as well as the gameplay at the same time instead of going through the deck first like I have in the last couple of videos. I hope you guys enjoy. So let's get into this game. We are actually going up against kind of a mid-range Braum Vlad deck. So this deck, again, I'm going to kind of go through the deck throughout the gameplay as well. This deck does play Karma, Ezreal, and Teemo. It's a 3 of Karma, 2 of Teemo, 1 of Ezreal. Might take out a Karma for an additional Teemo, not Ezreal. So we'll see what happens. But the general strategy of the deck is to mulligan for as many draw cards as possible so that you can basically kind of get like a combo, right? So it's not a typical combo where you're mulliganing or drawing for a specific, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Really, all the cards in your deck can get you to where you want to go, which is putting a bunch of Shrooms into your opponent's deck and eventually just whittling them down and using some, face damage as well with the Mystic Shots or Get Excited, stuff like that. But in this particular game, you're going to see about, I think it's like 214 Shrooms or something like that in my opponent's deck by the end of the game. And that is 100% because of Teemo, which is why I'm thinking about adding a third Teemo in there, obviously. The funny enough, you don't actually even need the Teemo, which is what you'll see in the second game, which I'm excited for. So definitely stick around for that second game as well. But basically, what you want to do at the beginning of the game is mulligan for draw cards. So you can see that's kind of what I did here in the beginning. This does play Shadow Assassin as a 3 of, again, just for more draw. So we did kind of get wrecked by the Avalanche a little bit. Feels bad. Nobody likes playing into an Avalanche. I hate that card so much. It's a pain in the butt. Anyways, see these Key Guardians in my hand. This is probably my favorite part of this deck, is how these Key Guardians usually play out. So on the surface, they draw you cards, which is great. You're thinning your deck. You're getting through your deck faster to get to what you need to get to. But there's 2 things here that usually work out very, very well for you. Technically 3, but the third isn't as useful as the other 2. So the first one, which is probably the most glaring one, is Teemo. If you Key Guardian a Teemo and then drop it that turn or next turn, you're pretty much guaranteed to get an attack off. Sans playing against a Shadow Isles or something like that with a Vengeance or something that just outright kills the Teemo. But any other factions, they're usually just playing straight up removal. It's not going to work against the barrier that your Teemo is going to have. So you can definitely get an attack off. You usually want to do that when your Teemo is already leveled up and you can 100% definitively get a Nexus Strike to double the amount of Shrooms in your opponent's deck. Now, obviously, that's after you've already set up the Shrooms in their deck. So that's the first one. It's about that time in the video where I ask you to please like the video. If you like the video, smash the like button. Smash it. Also, stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to get into kind of what my plans are for Friday's video in relation to PAX East, which I'm pretty excited about. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and you're new to the channel. Again, my name is Justin, also known as Shit Just Works. You are in the right place for Legends of Runeterra content. Hit the sub button. Let's get back to the deck. Before I get into the second one with Key Guardian, what I do want to mention is what's happening in the game right now, which is you see I just used a Thermo Beam on the Curator, which that's just me trying to get rid of his field. The Curator was probably the biggest problem in this game because of how much additional cards it ended up getting my opponent. And that's kind of the point of Curator, right? I mean, since they buffed it, it's kind of made Noxus self-inflicting damage decks a little bit better in being able to keep up with the card advantage like that. So I was trying to get rid of it. Didn't really work. That's why the Thermo Beams are in there. That's why the removal's in there. Again, Mystic Shot and Get Excited can also go to the face when needed at the end of the game. Some other cards you can see in there. You get Static Shock in my hand, obviously. The full mushroom package too. So the Clump of Wumps, and I forget the name of the 4-drop one. It's not in my hand yet, but that guy, that's a 4-drop that gives you 2 mushrooms. That's in there too. Honestly, the mushrooms are great for fodder, right? For the Get Excited. It's the only discard card that we have. So generally speaking, you want to try to discard a mushroom. However, this is where the fun starts, right? You see the Karma that I got in my hand right now too. Karma in this deck is redonkulous. I love Karma, right? So if you play her early, you're going to get a spell each turn, obviously. And that'll kind of just keep you in the game. Generally speaking, your opponent will probably have something to remove it, which will feel bad. Oh, actually, before I get into that, I want to talk about the second thing with Key Guardian right now. You're seeing it actually happen with the 2 peddlers, right? So I actually summoned the 2 peddlers with Key Guardian on both of them. So they both have barrier. So I'm getting, obviously good trades off right now just on his creatures. I think he actually ends up playing something on the Curator as well to kind of, save it. But it still ends up working out for me because both peddlers are still alive, which means they're both going to continue to shuffle a ton of shrooms into my opponent's deck. And that's the ultimate goal, right? Because I have all of these other burst spells in my hand. You can see I'm tossing the Flash of Brilliance right now. Actually get another, counterfeit copies, 1-cost burst spell. Getting a 1-cost burst spell off Flash of Brilliance is almost 100% what you want. I mean, if you're, generally speaking, all these burst spells you want to save towards the end of the game. And you want to have peddlers on the field, if you can. And then you want to have Karma on the field, leveled up, if you can. When you have a Karma and a peddler on the field, the amount of shrooms that you can actually get into your opponent's deck becomes insane. And this is, again, without Teemo. And this is what you're going to see in the second game, which I'm able to pull off. Actually against a pretty competitive deck, too. I think it's the Freljord Ionia deck. So I was able to pull that combo off versus probably, and this is ranked, probably the best deck that's out there right now. So you can see I do have the leveled up Teemo. Being that it's a Noxus Freljord mid-range deck, pretty confident he ain't got nothing. So we're summoning the Teemo because we know we're going to, punch some damage through with him and basically just shuffle a ton of shrooms in. We're playing the Insight now instead of waiting for the Enlightened period because we want to get the additional shrooms into the deck. So we get 3 more shrooms, which means we're actually going to get 6 more shrooms total because the Teemo is going to double those 3 shrooms as well. So now we're up to 64 puff caps in my opponent's deck. So we're getting there, right? We're getting there. Now, this Teemo, especially against something like a Freljord or Noxus, well, specifically the Vladimir Braum deck, they don't really play a whole lot of removal. They rely on combat tricks to, buff up their units and keep their units present on the board. So when you have stuff like elusives, that's one of the big weaknesses of this mid-range deck. And that's one of the reasons, too, why it's not like a tier 1 deck, the Braum Vlad deck. Because you have a deck like the Freljord Ionia, bounce elusives deck that it just completely destroys this because the Vlad deck can't really remove any of the elusives. They have no way of dealing with the elusives. So the only way that they can hope to win is by getting a really, really, really fast leveled up Braum and challenging the elusive units and just getting, those Poros super fast, which is very, very unlikely to get the Braum that quick. Or comboing off with the Crimson Disciple to kind of just do damage to their Nexus. So you can see here I'm getting the 2 Static Shocks off. Feels really good. I think he ends up saving 1 or 2 of them, obviously, which I kind of expected him to have a Take Heart or an Elixir of Iron here. So I'm not really too concerned about it. What I am concerned about in this particular exchange is a Twin Disciples. So if I don't block with the Peddler, because you're probably thinking to yourself, all right, if I don't block those 3, I only take 9 damage, and I'm still alive with 1 health. Why bother risking my Karma or my Peddler on the block? That is because if I did not block those units and he played a Twin Disciples, he will win. He'll end up doing 12 damage, and I can't actually do anything about it. I can't like change blockers and add them after the fact. So if you did not know that, if your opponent plays a burst spell in response to a combat move, you cannot change your combat move. And you know, when I first started playing, that did lose me games. You can see here he did buff units, so you know there's a good chance that he probably would have been able to win in some sort of exchange if I didn't assign those blockers. I did decide, funny enough, to keep the Teemo. You know, I probably just did it to troll, but hey, yeah, I probably shouldn't have. I shouldn't have prioritized keeping the Teemo, but I did, and in this case, it worked out. Or you could argue that maybe I should have kept the Teemo because it is a mid-range deck. You know, the only thing that he might play is that 1-cost Blade card that would do 1 damage since he already played 1. So we might have another one where you could peg the Teemo real quick, but highly doubt. I highly doubt that he's playing 2 or 3, or especially not 3 of those. So now we're at the point where we know we're just going to continue to double the puff caps in his deck. There's going to be a stupid amount of puff caps, and yeah, I mean now we're just relying on him drawing and losing. What I'm worried about here is obviously if he does not draw and get, well, at this point, 6 damage next turn, am I able to stop lethal? I do have a Get Excited and a Will of Ionia in my hand, so I know I can get rid of potentially 2 of his units on board, and I do still have 4 units to block with, so I know that I can definitely live for at least 1 more turn after his attack turn. But it don't matter, because we got 7 damage of Shrooms coming down the pipe. So, it always feels good to win with Shrooms. I'm not going to lie. It always feels good. So, now we get to the second game. So, the second game is more so Karma-based. So this shows you the power of Karma. So the first game really is all about the Teemo. We got the leveled up Teemo. Feels really good, by the way, to get a leveled up Teemo. I'm not going to lie. I love getting a leveled up Teemo. In this case, it's Karma that levels up. And this is why Karma, I think Karma is the best champion to pair with Teemo right now. You got a lot of people that pair Ezreal. There's some other weird decks floating out there. But I think Karma is by far and away the best because of her leveled up ability, which is cast spells twice. Just makes sense, right? You have a Mushroom Cloud in your hand. You cast it once, it automatically casts it a second time. Now, if you have a Puff Cap Peddler on the field, because it's being cast twice, you're not just getting 1 proc on the Puff Cap Peddler, you're getting dos. So now you get 5, 10, you're getting off 1 Puff Cap, or Mushroom, whatever the name of the card is, off 1, you're getting 16 total Shrooms for 1 mana in your opponent's deck. Seems worth it. I'm just gonna, seems worth it. You know, over 1 turn, that's probably 1 damage, so 1 for 1 right there, and then over multiple turns, you're gonna do more damage, so it's 100% worth it, even statistically speaking. So in this deck, you can kind of already see my hand too is just a ridiculous amount of spells. So we have the Clump of Wumps, we have the 4-drop guy that I still can't see his name because I'm not hovering over it, and which is going to lead to a lot of the Shroom card in our hand. And now I actually have to worry about our hand getting too large. So that is a problem sometimes you got to worry about in this deck. And any Shroom-based combo deck, because the Clump of Wumps and this 4-drop dude fill your hand pretty fast with the Shrooms, you're constantly having to worry about only having 9 cards in your hand when you end your turn. Because if you draw over 10, if you did not know the max hand size is 10, you will discard a card. So, elusives is, just to go back to the matchup quick, the elusives are obviously probably the most issue matchup for various reasons. Namely, they're just the best deck in the meta right now. The elusives are a pain in the butt. Usually we can deal with them, but since the elusives have switched to Freljord, Elixir of Iron is such a pain. I mean, The Elixir of Iron essentially is a deny for 1 mana to any removal spell at burst speed. So it's a deny that does work on burst speed spells, essentially. Because it's very hard, because it increases health by 2, it's very hard to target something and still be able to do enough damage over it where the Elixir of Iron would not save it. So as an example, you get the Green Glade Duo right now. If I Mystic Shot it, the Elixir of Iron saves it. So I would actually have to get excited a Green Glade Duo with no buffs on it yet to guarantee it dying. You see I'd use a Thermogenic Beam here. He Elixirs of Iron. So, you know, I could be spending it at more mana, but it's very difficult to play around that. And honestly, you don't really need to play around that with this deck, because at some point he's going to get some sort of health buff. So you might as well just throw out your targeting stuff and get his buffs out, because at some point he's going to draw those, so you can't play around them. Because if you do, you know, 2 turns later he'll just have it anyways, so the 2 turns that you played around it, they're not even worth it at that point. So I think here he actually Will of Ionias, so you can see, like, every single time he's got some sort of answer. That actually screws him a bit, because now I Thermo Beam the more important 6/5 elusive. So I don't know if that was really the right decision on his part, but at this point, I am getting a little worried. I don't really have anything in my hand that's going to allow me to win. I could keep shoving Shrooms into his deck, but he's only going to, and like right there, he didn't even draw a Shroom. So the fact that he's not even drawing Shrooms right now is a little bit concerning. I don't really have anything that I can do on the field. So once he regains control and gets more elusives on the field, I'm going to lose. Like I can't block that 4/2 elusive right now. The only reason I can block the 4/2 elusive is because one of the random spells I got is Ghost. Which, you know, it's funny, I think I forgot that card existed until I actually got it in this hand that game. So now the Karma completely changes this game. It 100% changes. So I know what Freljord and Ionia is playing. They're not going to play something that's going to be able to remove my Karma. The only thing he can hope to do is be aggressive enough to where I need to block with the Karma. Which in this case, I don't need to. I have enough blockers. I had the random Ghost because he probably thought he was going to win here. But he wasn't expecting, obviously, a random 1-spell Ghost to pop up. So I got the Ghost on the Clumpawumps and was able to block and kill his 4/2 elusive. So the Karma here, once she levels up, this is where things get real. I got a Karma and I got a Peddler, and now the fun begins. I basically have infinite spells. Like, especially because I have the Insight of Ages in my hand, too. The 2 mana burst that adds 2 spells in my hand. I have so many low-cost burst spells. It's ridiculous. We also have a health potion randomly, so that's another 1-cost spell. We have all the Shrooms still left over. And essentially, every time I'm playing a spell, 6 Shrooms are shuffled into my opponent's deck. On top of the spell being played twice. So I elect to go with the health potion first here. I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through my finishing play, because I'm trying to bait out any other mana that he could spend. He doesn't play it, because I'm trying to prep for the True Shot barrage. I'm pretty positive he's going to deny the True Shot. So it's going to go twice, so he can only deny one of them, but unfortunately they're at 4 health, which is kind of a pain in the butt, because I can't kill either one of them with the True Shot. But I know I can kill the Green Glade, so that's good. So that's the thing, right? So we do kill the Green Glade. We do a decent amount of damage to the Kinku. We do a decent amount of damage to the Zed. And on top of that, we get a bunch of stuff shuffled in. I also wanted to use the more expensive spell, because this is very important. So pay attention. When you are going for like a last turn kill, you need to play for the next turn. I know I'm getting 10 more mana. All these burst spells I can play right now as he's attacking. They will all activate and happen before his attack goes through. Right? So I actually use my Karma to block here just in case. And I do also Shadow Flare to basically, you know, everything on his field is going to die no matter what. The 2 Omen Hawks, the other 2/1. But I do block with the Karma so that I live no matter what. And playing all these burst spells continue to shuffle more Shrooms. So now I have 4 1-cost burst Shroom cards. That's 16 every single time. So that's 64 Shrooms in just those 4 cards. And on top of the, you know, all the other spells and stuff, I still have 2 Insight of Ages in my hand. Karma becomes nuts when you have that many spells you're playing, because you just get so many spells shuffled in your hand. It's insane. So, so I do end up living on that turn. He has 12 life left, but the amount of shrooms I've shuffled into his deck now is so ridiculous that it's like impossible for him to not draw a stupid amount of shrooms. So he's 5 in 1 turn there. I'm getting more spells into my hand. At this point, I have so many more cards than him. It doesn't even actually matter what he plays because I'm going to be able to counter it. Even if I didn't draw the Get Excited to go face, and he has another Deny here to also keep himself alive, I have more Insight of Ages. I have a Will of Ionia to recall the Zed. I have that Transmogrifier thing that nobody plays that can actually change the Zed into something completely different. So, all in all, very, very fun when you get the Karma with a Peddler on the field. I highly, highly recommend you try playing this deck. I want to change it, make it better, make it more consistent, make it work all the time. This thing is so fun. Love seeing people die to shrooms. Let's get it. All right, that's good. That's it. We're done. Like I said, I did want to actually quickly touch on what I'm doing for the next video, and that is a review on packs. I also got some footage from PAX, which I'm souped about. Just some of the stuff that we saw, some gameplay of some different games in alpha or beta. Yeah, it was a good time. So I kind of wanted to go over some of the panels that we went to, some of the people that we met, some of the things we did, places we went, the food we ate, which is pretty good. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video with this cancerous Teemo deck, which I hope to revise and make even better. And until next time, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.